Sometimes we buy things and almost immediately know that that was a bad decision. It happens to the best of us. Hey guys. So hopefully I'm loud enough. I'm still struggling with my cold and my cough and my ear being clogged. So I went to the doctor yesterday. I'm on antibiotics now, but I don't know. I hear myself in my head, so I don't know how you guys hear me. So I'm trying my best. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about the bags that I purchased that I don't know about immediately. Most of these are not necessarily immediately. I would say that they were within the first few months, though, that I knew that it was a bad decision. I would say that I don't usually carry my bags immediately. It's rare that I get something and I use it right away, and usually that's because it's either cheaper or it's a throw around bag or something like that, or usually I have to let it sit and it sort of marinates for a little while, and then I sort of break it out of the packaging. So these bags that are on my list today are bags that pretty quickly, once I started using them, I knew that it was a bad investment. I'm saying that because most of these items, I missed the return window. I think one of them, actually, I'm looking at my list now. I think one of them I was able to return. Everything else had to be sold on. And yeah, so none of these bags are in my collection anymore. I will throw up pictures as we go. But let me introduce myself. So if you are new here, my name is Bram. I talk about all things fashion, luxury, lifestyle, shopping, and travel. So if those are things that are interesting to you, I would love it if you'd hit subscribe, become a member of my growing YouTube family. We are almost at 3,000. Literally, we're almost there. I have a giveaway going on. If you don't know, I'm giving away 3 Labubus. Possibly more. I should have some more coming, but 3 Labubus for sure as soon as we hit 3,000. So all you have to do is be subscribed. You get 1 entry for being subscribed on YouTube. You get another entry for following me on Instagram, and you now will get another entry for following me on TikTok. I have not posted on TikTok yet, but I do have everything kind of up and ready for when that day comes. So if you can get up to 3 entries, follow me on all 3 places, and that's the whole story. All of the information is in the description box below. Okay, so let's get going. But before we get going, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button because a like helps me tremendously. All right, guys, let's go. So I have 5 bags written down. I am going to tell you the issues that I found with all of them and why they're on my list of just bags that I totally regret, again, immediately. Number 1 would be, I have a love-hate relationship with this bag. So number 1 would be the LV Carry It. If you don't know what that is, I'm putting up a picture right here. I think it was, I don't know if it was 1920. It might have been 20 or 21. I don't remember. I feel like this bag came out around the time, maybe it was around the time that stores started opening again, because I did buy it in store. I think it was right after the lockdown and stores were starting to open again, because I remember picking it up directly from store in the LV in Garden State. And I think that this was the same day that I also picked up the blue Escal Speedy. Yeah, I'm almost sure. Anyway, I love this bag. It's right up my alley. It is a bunch of VHS tapes. Visually, I love this bag. I think it is such a great bag. The drop on the strap is really, really good. It's long enough that it's not that annoying Neverfull MM drop that hits me literally in my armpit and doesn't really go over coats for me. But The carry it had like a really nice drop length. The problem with it, and the reason that I sold it, now I regret it because again, visually, I love this bag. It's totally right up my alley. It's kitschy. It's the reverse monogram, which I love. It is, like I said, it's a bunch of VHS tapes stacked on top of each other. So it's just like, I love it. I love it so much. And if it ever presented itself, I never say never. If it ever presented itself at a really good price on the secondhand market, I would totally get it again. But for full price, I regretted it pretty much instantly. First of all, the way that the bag is constructed, it's like it's very, very slim. There's no width to it. It is like literally paper slim. It is smaller, it is slimmer than a sack plat. So like you're playing Tetris in this bag. Really, like there's no, and if you have anything kind of like bulging in any direction, it looks really weird because the bag is like it just is meant to lay very, very flat. So I was just highly annoyed with how I would have to like dig in my bag and get things out. It came with a little bit like a little pouch or whatever to put your stuff in, no problem. It was just like very deceiving because while it should be able to fit a lot because the bag itself is like the dimensions, it's a medium sized bag or like it's a pretty good sized tote bag. It really doesn't hold much of anything because everything needs to kind of be it's like you can't have more than one thing, like it needs to be on top of each other versus wide. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so that just like frustrated me to no end. If this was not the VHS version, I would say like I wouldn't even think about this bag again. I would just like I just like it would be completely out of my mind. But because this bag was so cool, they also have another version that is, I'll see if I can find a picture and pop it up. It's but these are kind of rare to be on the market. There are kind of a few floating out there. I've seen them. The one that I see usually pop up is the not the reverse, like the regular monogram with the like Exorcist poster. That's not my favorite because I don't really like the Exorcist. Anyway, yeah, so I see the Exorcist one pop up sometimes, but again, if it popped up for a really good price, if I could get it like for under $1,000 at some point, maybe I would do it again just as for like the collectability aspect of it because I really liked that collection itself. That collection, and this is something that I rarely see on the secondhand market. There was also like like the mini zippy wallet in that was designed to be like a VHS tape, and not a VHS, sorry, like a tape, like a music tape, like an actual tape. So yeah, it was a really cool collection. However, it just wasn't a functional bag for me at all, and it was highly annoying. So that was one that like almost instantly. And the reason I missed my window, honestly, was I believe I did use it pretty much immediately, which is rare for me, but because I loved it that much. But I think that the reason I missed my window was because I was trying to hold on hope that it would somehow work out because it was such a cool bag. But once I used it, I never really reached for it again because it was so annoying. And at some point, it got sold. So anyway, c'est la vie. The next bag is the Chanel 19 in the tweed. Now, I love this bag, and I know that you guys love this bag because when I gave you my bag, like you've seen it in my background before, I believe I still had it in my bag collection video. I'm not 100, no, I don't think so. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, guys. However, it's been in my videos before. I don't know if I did an unboxing. I might have. I'm not really sure. Anyway, this was a bag that I was like, one of my best friends got this bag in like a million iterations in 20, I think it came out in 21 or 20. I don't remember, but I remember we went down to Bloomingdale's like multiple times and to Chanel on 57th Street multiple times to check this bag out when it was in stores. And it was like all of them, because they're like dip dyed, they're all slightly different. And so she got a whole bunch of them, but she's like super picky. And I'm not as picky as she is, but she was like going back and forth in terms of how much purple she wanted and all of that stuff. Anyway, so when I saw it pop up, we know that the Chanel 19 is like, they're really good prices right now. So if you like it, because I think, you know, favor has kind of fallen off. It looks a little bit, I don't know if it looks dated. I still personally love it, but it was definitely like the Chanel 19 is of the era of like the puffy Bottega bags, of the, like just like the 2020 era when we were home and everything was supposed to be like pillowy and comfortable. Like obviously that is a very specific look. Now, I still have a 19 in denim. I absolutely love that bag. I think it is one of my favorite, and I do think it is a classic Chanel style, but I just think that it's a little bit unfavorable now, kind of like the way that the boy bag is. So you can find them for great prices. So when it popped up on Fashion File at a really like a steal, I jumped on it without thinking. So the reason that pretty much immediately I was like, oh, this is going to be like a showpiece in my collection. This is not going to be something that I'm going to wear. Is I live in Miami, and tweed is like, as much as I want to do fall, and I really do, because if you've been here before, I love fall. Like I love all things fall. I think that most of us do. Fall is my favorite season. Like I said, I think that most of us will agree. A Northeast fall is, I mean, like you can't beat it. I I love fall, and I love warm materials. I love sweatshirts. I love jackets. I love all the things that are very anti-Miami, right? And tweed is definitely one of them. So there's a few problems with this bag. First of all, the color is absolutely incredible. I am not a purple lover. I've actually hated purple most of my life, and I think it stems from Dimetapp. If anybody remembers Dimetapp, I don't know if it still exists, but it was that nasty cough medicine that my mother used to hold me down and like pour down my throat when I had a cold, and I would throw it up. And so I've always associated grape and purple with being sick, funny enough, and Dimetapp. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but I also didn't think it was like a very like a good color on me. However, I disagree now. I actually am starting to really like purple, and I think it's because to me purple is kind of new, because I've literally spent my whole life not wearing purple at all. So now that I like purple, I've kind of been dabbling in purple things. So this purple bag being one of them. And I really liked it when my friend showed it to me, but I was in my no purple phase at that point, and I got a different 19 that has also been sold, but that one I didn't regret. It was time. It was big, and it was time. It was the maxi. Anyway, so she ended up actually completely returning it. And to this day, she's like, I never want to see that bag again, because it was like, we literally spent weeks going back and forth to different Chanels looking for like the perfect one of these bags, because she is a purple lover. Anyway, so the minute that I brought it home and it was in my collection, like it looked beautiful on the shelf. And even when I see it now in like the backgrounds of other people's videos, it's rare, but I do catch it every once in a while. I'm like, oh, it's such a beautiful bag. However, again, this is Miami. There is I don't have much opportunity to wear this bag. Number one, it rains a lot. It doesn't rain a lot in the winter here, but the winter is very, very mild, and it is a very wintry bag. I feel like the tweed is just because it's black and purple. Like it is not. If it was if it was a tweed like houndstooth or something like that, that might be a different story. You can kind of incorporate that into like even like summer, spring, whatever, even though it's inherently winter, I think it can be incorporated into like other seasons. But but because it's such a dark bag, it really couldn't be. So that was number one. Number two was I actually love the large size. I think it's my favorite. I've had actually all the sizes of the 19. I had a maxi, or like the jumbo, in a beautiful like a off-white color, which was absolutely stunning. But the chain is very short, so it's only a shoulder bag, and it's pretty heavy, and it's huge. It's huge. My denim one is the medium, which I think is a really great size because it's very easy to cross body. The large is a great size, but it cross bodies a little bit higher, and it's a very long shoulder strap. So I don't really love a long shoulder strap. I either crossbody, or I like kind of like like a short to like a mid length shoulder drop. Anyway, and I do like obviously the fact that you can hold it by the handle as well, because I do like a top handle bag. However, the way and like just because of the large size, because of the drop of like when you're wearing it like the shoulder way, I tended to wear it crossbody, which is fine. Now my chest is bigger, so it ends up being that usually I have a rough time with crossbodies unless it's long enough. So I did have a little bit of a rough time, in my opinion, of like where this bag would sit. And then because it is tweed, it rubs against your body. So it's just, I wore it honestly, like I would say a handful of times, like maybe 5 times. I brought it to New York last year. And then this year I tried a few times in the winter, but every time I wore it, like it would start to bead. I mean, like, so I would take the bag off and I would notice like the material would just start to bead, because that's the nature of tweed. And so I love Chanel tweeds, but they're not sturdy. They're not hard wearing. You have to be careful with them. And I don't think that a crossbody bag in this shape and size, like if it's a mini bag, I think it's one thing. Maybe you don't wear it as much. I don't really know. But if it is one that you kind of want to wear a lot, the tweed is definitely going to wear very quickly. Because it was dark, it would like grab on to cat hairs and dust and everything else. And so pretty much immediately I was like, oh, this might have been a bad idea. But obviously I had removed the fashion file tags and whatever. I sold it on it. I did okay with it. I lost a little money, just a little money, but not as bad as you would think. However, yeah, it was pretty immediate where I was like, this was a bad idea. So now I know I'm probably going to stay away from tweed bags. Yeah, especially in the 19 in the large and the medium. Like if I'm going to do a tweed, it has to be like an under the arm, or it has to be just a hand carry bag. So anyway, sad because it's beautiful, but it is what it is. The next bag, this is the, I think it was called the Soft Mal. It's the Louis Vuitton Reverse Soft Mal, MM. So I was obsessed with this bag. I picked it up. I don't even remember what year this bag came out, to be honest. But what I do remember is it had a the leather on it is almost like a box leather, very smooth and beautiful. It wasn't box leather. I'm sure it was like calfskin or lambskin. I don't know. I take it back. I don't know what it was, but it was almost like box leather in the sense that it was very smooth. And there really wasn't any grain that you could like see. So this is why I don't wear bags immediately. So I get this bag home, put all my stuff in it. I'm ready to use it for the next day or whatever. I put it on my, I keep like, not anymore. I used to keep my bags like that I was going to wear the next day on the dining room table, so that the next morning when I'm on my way to work or whatever, I just grab it and it's ready, right? It's packed, it's ready. Okay, so had it there. I hear a big crash in the kitchen dining room area, and I go out. I must have had this bag for 5 hours at this point, okay? Like, again, I get it home, I unbox it, I put my stuff in it. I'm so excited because I loved this bag. Well, I go into the kitchen where the dining room table is, and my bag is on the floor. The chair is knocked over, the bag is on the floor, and my cats are chasing each other. I know it was stupid on my part, and I have no excuse. It was stupid. I did not think ahead. But when I picked up the bag, there was a giant scratch, just like completely dug out, front and center of this bag. So obvious. Anyway, needless to say, that sort of just destroyed my opinion on this bag. It destroyed my, not my opinion, I guess not my opinion as well, but it definitely destroyed my, my feelings on this bag. Like, it was just like, God, it was so sad. It was so sad. So anyway, that being said, and I immediately like was just like, I have to sell it. I have to sell it. There are bags, like there are certain things that I really don't mind wearing and beating up, and like like the Balenciaga City bag, for example. That bag looks great when it's beat up, right? A Speedy, like a regular Speedy looks great when it's beat up. There are certain bags that like as they age, they actually look better. That bag is not one of them. That bag is definitely one that you want to keep in pristine condition because that leather is just so delicate. So immediately regretted it. Took a huge loss on it because obviously now I'm selling it and it is no longer in new or even excellent condition. Yeah, so I've learned my lesson that while I have animals, I avoid box leather. I am not an Hermes girl. We have discussed this, but one bag on like, I have a lot of wish lists, and I share some of them with you guys. But like, I have bags that I'm just like one day, in the perfect world, I would get this, but it's not like forefront in my mind. But one of these bags would be like a beautiful box leather, like burgundy Kelly bag, right? But and I would get it. I would actually love to get it already worn. But until I don't have animals, and who knows if that's ever going to happen, but at least until I don't have cats with like sharp claws, I will not be purchasing any other box leather or like smooth leather bags, period, unless they are going to be kept somewhere very secure because that was a disaster. That was a disaster. It was really, really upsetting. It was like I was so excited, and like immediately it was like the air was let out of the balloon. You know what I mean? I was just like totally deflated, totally deflated. So that's another one. Totally regretted. Next one I was able to return. The Neverfull come out 08 or something like that, guys. I don't really remember. I'll pop it up here. I don't remember, but it wasn't something that came out until a little bit later on in my like luxury handbag buying journey, whatever. Anyway, I when they first came out, maybe that's a better way to say it. When they first came out, and it was in the beginning of when I was kind of building a relationship in the store. Maybe that's how I need to say it, because over the years I've had many different essays, and I've gone through phases where I have bought from the store, and then I have bought pre-loved, and then I have bought from the store, and then I haven't necessarily kept an essay. And I feel like back then, in the beginning, I really didn't, I wasn't, I would buy from wherever, and yeah. So I just, like, I didn't, and I was always looking for a deal. So a lot of them were like, you could get really good deals back then in the early 2000s because people didn't necessarily know what they had. So if you knew what you were looking for and you knew what you were looking at, you could get really good deals. But anyway, this was the beginning of when I started buying in store. So I purchased myself a Demier Ebene, sorry if I'm saying it bad, Neverfull in the MM. I remember getting home. I was excited about it. I actually thought about this bag and I was like, okay, which one do I want? I want to say this was 08, 09, 10. I don't know, somewhere along those lines. Anyway, I got it home. I was super excited about it. And I remember opening the box and the smell of like glue like hit me in the face, almost like it was so strong, like this chemical smell was so strong that it made me nauseous. And I was like, I just got to air it out. I remember like leaving it out of the bag and putting it by like the open window for a few days. This smell would not go anywhere. It was horrendous. And then besides that, I remember it had to be like fall or winter, because I remember putting a jacket on and like trying it on with my stuff. I was super excited to get it home and like try it on with my clothes and whatever. And it not fitting under, like over a jacket. It was like too high and uncomfortable. Like it was like a mission to kind of put it on over my jacket. Anyway, that is the reason, the drop handle is the reason that I don't really like the MM very much in general. Like if I'm gonna do a Neverfull, it would be the GM, and I like certain like limited edition versions of the GM actually a lot, but an MM I just can't. And usually the limited edition designs are made in the MM for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's always how it's been. You'll randomly get collections like the Rayers collection or like the graffiti collection that are made in the GM version, but for the most part, it doesn't happen. So anyway, luckily enough, I was within my window. I returned it, but that smell actually put me off of buying Demier Ebene for to this day, pretty much. I literally, I know I don't like it. I tried one more time with the Speedy at one point and returned that as well. I don't like the smell. I don't like it just feels very like pleathery, like plastic, you know? And I think that they look good, but I just don't like the way that they feel, and I don't like the way that they smell usually. I feel like maybe they don't all smell, but that smell just like put me off so bad that I won't do it again. So anyway, luckily I was able to return and get my money back or get something else. I don't really remember, but I wasn't stuck with it. Okay, guys, the very last one. And this is another one that I'm really sad about because it's such a gorgeous bag, but this is the Chanel Chain Around Flat Bag from 21. So I have had this bag quite a few times. Like the original version, I had actually like the crossbody one. It was crossbody, or it was like a very long shoulder bag. I'll pop it up here if I can find a picture. I had that in like 2010 or 2011. And then years later, I bought the original flat bag with the chain around that was so heavy. And I bought that on like the Real Real or whatever, probably in like 17 or 18. And because it was like always a bag on my list that I wanted to get, I ended up selling it at some point just because it was like literally 300 pounds. It was such a heavy bag. And so when it came out again in 21, I jumped on it. So that was my 40th birthday. And I was like, I'm going to buy myself a present. And I bought myself that bag. Now, when I walked into the store, it was on my birthday. So I was like, I want to spend money today. And they only had the black in stock. That should have been my first clue because black is not my favorite color. But it was the black with the gold chain around. So it was very, very beautiful. And actually the flat bag that I had originally, like a few years prior, from um, the first edition of the chain around style, was also in a black, but with silver. So anyway, I actually went in there wanting the red or the silver, if I remember correctly, but they only had in the larger of the two sizes, they only had the black version with the gold. Now, beautiful bag, and I wore it and I loved it. However, pretty much immediately, and you'll see if you look at them pre-loved on like any pre-loved site, it dents in. I don't know how to avoid it. I stuffed it, I put it in its box. I take very good care of my bags. However, the way that the material or the leather was, whatever they used, was too soft, I believe, for the chains. And the bag just completely dented in the front. And so, using it a little bit, obviously, I already used it and I was outside of my window at that point. Um, it just immediately looked like it was like an old bag. And while sometimes I don't mind, sometimes I definitely do. Like this bag, I kept it in pristine condition. It was like babied. It was so beautiful, but it just looked like worn and out of shape immediately. And that just turned me off to the bag. And I was just like, damn, I should have done something else for my birthday. I should have done something else. Anyway, needless to say, I sold it on at some point. They actually go for quite a lot now on the secondhand market from what I can see, but they shouldn't because they literally all look beat up in my opinion. But it is an absolutely beautiful bag. If it kept its structure, it would be stunning. Like I love this bag so much. Anyway, that's my list, guys. I have yapped on for long enough, especially since I'm trying my best to not cough. That is it. That's all I got for you today. So thank you for watching. If you have made it this far, I totally appreciate you. I will be back on, what's today? Today's Wednesday. I'll be back on Friday. And I have some really good unboxings coming soon. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. Remember, if you want to win a Labubu, go follow me on all the platforms. Go read the description, the instructions in the description box, and I also will link the original video so you can see which Labubus are being auctioned off, given away. They're not auctioned off; they're being given away. And that's it. So if you like this video, a thumbs up would be super appreciated. I'm going to put up all my information, my Instagram and my TikTok. So go follow me there, and all that fun stuff, guys. So again, thanks for watching. You guys are the best. And if you are not done with me yet, I will leave another video right over here in case you want to see it. All right, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.